vent area, which will help. But EnVy also does a really good job of singling out the vent angle when they boost. They eliminate the other angles with flashes and then swing and double peek that vent angle and really make sure that guy can't get a 2-kill and live.
We were talking about, we were talking about the T side that Ninjas in Pajamas picked, and you believed it was actually because they feel they're not warmed up enough. Speaking of warm-up, I can see that GetRight had 100+ frags there. He was just popping heads constantly in the spawn, but you just believe that once they don't feel they're warmed up properly, they believe they'll have a better CT side than if it's a CT-sided map. Yeah, exactly, and that's something NiP has always been a fan of, as Jordan said, is they like to start T-side, like to get rolling, they like to get warmed up, because they know the game is CT-sided, that's the meta of the game. But here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is Ninjas in Pajamas up against Team EnVyUs. And this is the semi-final to see who will join Fnatic in tomorrow's grand final of the ESL 1 Katowice. And that will be, of course, in the Spodek Arena at 1 p.m. Central European time. Make sure you set your clocks for that one. But we have some fantastic CS action ahead of us. And this pistol round could be a big one. See how they go. You can see the 3-man stack actually just over. The bomb is actually on the A side. One man just squeaky. NBK all alone at the moment. There's 2 people playing at truck. He's going to smoke them out. That's going to buy time for the rest of his team to rotate around. NBK will get flashed out in his famed corner. Forest will get one down. Happy comes back around. They have good rotations here. And EnVy, with that smoke, should cover them off. Shox comes back around main. Not going to be enough to lurk in there. Exist and Forest will pick themselves up. Now it's all on Katowice and Happy to keep them away from this site. But it looks like it's going to be a potential rotate coming out from NiP. Look at this. The bomb already making fast tracks. It's almost at the B side. But GetRight gets himself one. He may just finish it right here. Kayoshima's going to get taken low. Tries to go for the reload. GetRight will get the second. And that's what all that warm-up time was for. NiP take the pistols. And that's the bread and butter right there of NiP. What you saw to them that round was just basically spreading out across the map, holding a default. They don't use Freiburg and GetRight, who are the 2 people watching the pushes solo. They don't use them in any way where they can die. They're holding really passive angles. You saw EnVyUs push B, GetRight spotted that. They instantly smoke highway, start to do an A main take. And then after that, obviously, they get blocked off by the smoke. They instantly decide to hold, knowing EnVyUs is a really fast rotating team. They pick them on the rotations. Just excellent work right there by NiP across the map. Well, this time around it is NiP trying to get that mid control and looking towards the A site. They've 4-man stacked it there, you can see. Trying to hope that something happened. Happy holding B all on his own. Kayashima, the only man with that scout. The rest of the team have CZ stacked out. Exist. Already popped the vents. He's going to drop down into checkers while the rest of NiP make their moves. You can see Happy just waiting at the back of the site. Kayashima already in place, trying to get that head. He finds it on Forest there. That could start things off nicely for Team EnVy as they try and push through. Happy just around the back of the site. Will get one, won't get the second, but it doesn't matter. The damage has already been done in this second round, and they're down to a 3-on-3 situation. Smith gets himself the AK. GetRight covering things off. Exist on the back. Smith will get one, but it's quickly answered by GetRight. And now Kayashima with that scout. He's got it all to do. GetRight already has his position pinned out. Oh, he will get Exist. It's now to a 1-on-1. He's going to pop around. GetRight's there. And he started off with another triple. It's a good start for NiP. Excellent awareness right there by GetRight, getting that positional advantage right there in the 1 versus 1, knowing he has the advantage off angle completely. But something to know from that round, EnVyUs flying all around the map. You saw the overview. NiP was taking the B bomb, so there's only one guy B. EnVyUs is one of the fastest rotating teams at top level CS. They had all 5 guys there ready to fight by the time NiP hit the site. It was an extremely hard take, and here's the standard rebuy that I was talking about last time I casted, where EnVyUs is one of the only teams that'll rebuy this 3rd round after losing the 2nd round. It's one of the most risky things that I can possibly think of, but they're so good at it. Monolith's not going to find one. Smith actually will get Freiburg down in mid coils. He's got the support as well. And that may slow NiP down. They had good mid-control, but as of yet, they're yet to breach onto a site. Exist, expecting the push, does get it. Didn't get the frag, though. It was Shox that managed to back away. As you mentioned, they've all got that head armor on them. Shox, big investment here. Very low on health, but they haven't quite pinned him down. Kayashima and Shox holding steady with Alu pushing checkers. Now the rotation is out. Smiths is there, and this is a 4-man defense. Make it a 5 as the man pushes back from vents. Smiths will get caught out. Shox gets taken down as well as NBK. Forest just around the corner. Smith's trying to get it, but he's going to just get outnumbered. And now Kayoshima, he gets pinned out. Happy the last man. And it was a solid round from NiP in the end. Team Envy, they got into position, but the sad fact is they were only on pistols. But as you said, that was a big investment, head armor for everyone.
It was, and it really looked scary for NiP going into that B bomb site, but they were so patient, and Shox was in a place after they spammed that clip and the smoke blew up and the flash popped. He was in a place where he probably could have gotten two had NiP been too hasty on that take, but they took their time, they were patient, really allowed EnVyUs to make the mistakes that round, which is what NiP is best at.
Double stacking this time. NiP have thrown mollies at that sandbags every round, and once again, it forces them out. Freiburg and Forest pick themselves up a hatful of kills. It's just Shox alive with this Deagle. Don't believe he's going to pull too much from this one, and NiP should secure themselves the 4th round on the board. So looking at this match, obviously it's going to be a 4-0 start. That's a good start for NiP already.
No, it's excellent, and the reason why it's so important that they started off well is because EnVyUs is one of those teams on Cash that like to run the double op setup, and I've even seen them run triple op setups, and by going up 4-0 like this, it totally annihilates the economy of EnVyUs. We'll take the op out of Shox's hand at B, gonna prevent Happy from opping A, Smiths from opping mid. They're likely only gonna see maybe one op first gun round, if that.
Should point out, of course, this was Envy's map choice, which is somewhat surprising. We were looking at the veto stage and actually had it massively in favor of Envy. NiP were really stuck for maps to play. The fact that they've chosen Dust 2 as their own map is a gigantic risk in itself, because you could rate that as possibly Envy's best map in their own pool. But as it stands, this will be 4-0. They're just waiting to see if they can hunt Shox down, but he's keeping himself in a pretty well defended position. Just going to back away and hope that nobody comes. Solid stuff overall. Right, let's see. They've saved in the last. Will they get that investment in? M4s are starting to appear for Envy, so they will try and go for this one. You can see they've got pretty much a full assortment of nades as well in there, and a couple of mollies as well. Let's see if they try anything on this mid. They have been losing out on it every time to NiP. They're pushing through heavy. They are going to try 3-man stack here. Let's see if it works out for them.
Oh, and NiP going really fast through the middle right now. Get right already out, gonna molly those sandbags. Knows the guy's there. This is huge.
Yeah, that's gonna burn Shox down. He's not forced out just yet. He's gonna try and stick around. Now he has to make the move, but he's done it well in the smoke. Gets himself one, gets himself a second. Now Get Right caught in the corner. He will get the revenge, but the damage is done in that mid. NBK just waiting for Get Right to come out of the smoke, and he does get himself the kill. It's just Freiburg with it all to do. 1 on 3. Comes around, will find NBK. Makes it itself a little bit easier. He does have one man pushing in his position, but these are unorthodox defensive standings by Envy. They're not just holding sights, not holding angles. They're instead trying to cover off, and Freiburg, you know, he may well be able to sneak around the rest of them here.
Yeah, and Freiburg can certainly single off these guys. They're on opposite ends of the map, so he's basically facing a one-on-one no matter where he goes.
Checking every corner, every crevice as he goes, as he works his way through the mid. We can see that Envy's starting to get a little bit edgy here. They haven't found him. They're wondering, is he trying to save this AK? It wouldn't make sense because they will have enough money to go into that next round, so he must be pushing a site. But Smith thinks he's got this covered, but Freiburg, he's gone completely around the back, and as soon as his bomb plant comes in, they're both going to have to check sites. You can see already, actually, A site's already been checked. Happy's run across. They know it's B. They're going to have to try and come here at the same angle at the same time. Make sure it's not a one-on-one, but Freiburg may force the issue here as he comes around unseen. Smiths will manage to catch him side on, and that will be the defuse and the round number 1 on the board for Envy.
And that round right there really indicates and shows why EnVyUs is one of the best Tier 1 teams in the world right now. What they did in middle isn't something you can plan or kind of go ahead and practice something like that. Shox just made an on-the-fly play, throwing that flash off the wall, pushing towards the vent, using that smoke that someone threw on his team by the trash area to basically single off that area, single off the other teammate that was at the vent, turn around, get the second kill. That won the round for him, and that's excellent. That's what sets EnVyUs apart from the rest.
Just lots of experience and well worked. And we do see, of course, an AWP popping in for the first time for Alu. Let's see how that works out. Gets flashed out quickly as he tried to get that immediate peek on mid. Kayoshima in position to try and prevent the boost. We did see Exist was crouching through that X-ray. Get Right just trying to create some sort of opportunities over on the B site while the rest of his team setup exists. Yet to push up. Freiberg is still with him, but this is a good defensive setup from Envy this time around, and we are seeing Happy effectively left alone. He has got, of course, the support just around short. It is going to be MBK that will join him, but Alu craftfully dodging out of that molly. And they may well feel that with that molly going onto the top there, that it is actually clear. Kayoshima will continue to check it. Exist peeking. Forest will get the opening shot. MBK goes down as well, and NiP just carved Envy straight open. The inside. Happy is lurking in the smoke. They know he's somewhere around that quad, but he's just going to stay hidden. Oh, well, he's just going to find him anyway. Enough shots fired into smoke. Will eventually find the target, but Smith comes in quickly. Gets himself two on Exist, and Forest is going to try and back away, but get right, already done the damage on B, push through. That will be the 5th T-side round for NiP. This really is a fantastic start for NiP.
Yeah, and NiP obviously put a lot of work into looking at what EnVyUs does on CT side of this map. They held for those A pushes for days. That guy was holding the back of A main almost a minute into the round. MBK got pop flashed in by Happy from quad. The NiP player was able to take him out. From there, they start to sandwich onto A. Alu knows Happy plays quad. He's just staring at that smoke, waiting for Happy. Knows Happy has to be hiding in that smoke. Takes him out. Good stuff by NiP right there.
Off the pistol risk. He'll try and stack out one of those sites. They went for B, but it's going to be A. And now we see already the smokes and mollies come out. Happy all alone with his P250. The rest of his team are starting to get closer. Forrest takes a peek. That flash maybe enough to slow them down. It was the only one. NBK goes down. Happy can't get anything with the opening. And that surely will be NiP getting the bomb down and taking that site. Just a couple of P250s and Deagles to try and clear them out. Alu will get one. Smiths will get the other. And like that, it is 6-1 for NiP. This really is becoming a very, very good start for Ninjas in Pajamas.
Yeah, and NiP is in complete control of this match now. They've told EnVyUs basically round after round, you cannot push on us. You will not push A main. You're not going to push B, because what we're going to do is we're going to spot you, and we're going to use that to our advantage. We're going to manipulate your rotations. We're going to maybe pick you in those pushes, but you're not taking control of the map. And now EnVyUs is going to have to play back. I'd be interested to see if they push this round.
Flashing each other out in that mid, and it is going to be NiP that come out on top as Forrest gets through. Alu also getting himself a second. Happy will get his second frag of the game, but Exist quickly comes up, and they're just using strength in numbers to just brutally take control of that mid. It is just Smiths left alone, and I think he's going to have to try and save this one because they'd invested so heavily into that round and have got absolutely nothing for it. Just Forrest death, and that bomb plant will come in once again on the A site.
Yeah, good stuff right there by NiP, using middle and B to basically control that portion of the map. What they did is they had a guy go through the lower mid smoke with a flash, probably had Get Right lurking pretty aggressive by B to make sure there wasn't a guy in the vents. They listened close mid to make sure no one ran vents from mid. Guy ran out mid, swung, killed the guy highway, and then at that point, the person sandbag is in a 3 versus 1 in mid. Good stuff by NiP.
So if you were Envy now, you talked about how fast they play on the T side. NiP are doing the same thing right now. They are beating them to the punch in that mid. They're getting the flashes out. They're getting the smokes in the right spot. They're going in numbers and successfully taking them out. Smiths will hold on to that rifle, it seems, at the end of the round. But 7-1 for NiP. What do Envy do? What do they change now? Because this is starting to become a scary score for them already. Yeah,
the first things first, they need to shut down this middle. EnVyUs needs to be Molotoving the boost at middle. They need to be smoking middle, maybe playing a guy aggressive close on middle to be able to handle Freiberg, who's running out through that smoke. They need to stop that. And then after that, they need to focus on holding A, because that's NiP's next goal every round, it seems like, is to hit A, using the boost at mid and to A, kind of controlling mid with the boost. I would like to see them do the big boost on A right now, which a lot of people in NA seem to call the Shroud boost.
Well, this is something that hasn't really worked out for Envy so far. When they do have these eco rounds, they try to 4-man stack it. You can see, of course, they've left, I believe it's Smiths on his own. He is the one man with the rifle, so it makes sense to leave him on B site. MBK, oh, would have saw the clip in just through the door there. That pistol just poked for a second, and it was enough for Forrest to get the head. Now they're going to try and draw the attention. Exist is going to get that molly square into quad. Smiths is not going to get burnt out, though. Didn't quite land in the right spot. And this stack might work for them, but the bomb, you can see, it's already rotating on the mini map. It's simply Forest starting to rack up his statistics here. As Shox goes down, Kayashima, not too sure how that one didn't land on point. He looks square on in the X-ray. Bomb plant is taking its time. Ninjas in Pajamas have been a little bit careful. They have a solid lead. They have no need to rush into sight. And with those rifles, when you see like the likes of Happy has got that CZ in his hand, it's easy to just rush around a corner and suddenly lose 2 people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what NiP knows. They know that EnVyUs is so strong with pistols. They know they have to be careful and use numbers, use grenades correctly. They're just doing an excellent job. Everything they're doing right now is perfect.
Well, speaking of that pistol, there's Kayashima. He gets one, doesn't get the second, using strengthening numbers to take him down. Oh, Freiburg's going to walk straight into the crosshairs of Smiths. And now a couple more rifles go out of the hands of NiP, but they're going to be happy overall. Alu's still holding on to that rifle. Rifles, of course, in the hands of Freiburg exist. Another bomb plant, another chunk of change exist. Trying to chase him down. Freiburg, Smiths actually gets himself a couple at the end there. Will cost them, but when they've got 10K in the bank, they've got money for days.
Yeah, and those are important kills for Smiths right now because EnVyUs' economy is hurt. And something important to note about that spot, actually, it's really funny. So sure, Forrest saw his gun, but if he didn't and he opened that door, it opens the opposite way when someone's in front of the door like that, which ultimately gives the peekers advantage to NBK in that situation. A lot of top teams in Europe are using that. JW is one that seems like he invented it almost. He uses it so much. I love watching JW do stuff like that.
Everybody loves watching JW do anything, frankly. He has some magnificent plays. Of course, we saw early on in the day. We will be perhaps seeing some more tomorrow. They are in the finals, and they are waiting to see who their opponent will be. So far, NiP have themselves a very commanding start to this game. Considering, remember, of course, they played the first match of the day, which went to a best-of-3, including an overtime against TSM. And you maybe think their stamina would have been drained from that one, but it seems they've turned up fairly fresh-faced for this EnVy matchup.
And what Happy just did right there, so that smokes A main. When you throw a grenade through that into the lockers, if there's a T in that area, it'll outline them. It's one of the few nades throughout the map that you can basically do that. You throw a grenade behind the smoke. If there's a T in that area, you outline them and you just spray them immediately through the smoke. So he's basically gathering info with that grenade.
Well, GetRight's going to find himself Shox behind the sandbags. Does get him down with the second spray, but that's quickly answered by NBK, taking a peek from Toxic. Happy holding a different angle this time around. He's been on quad a couple of times. This time around, he's going to try and wait around that box, but he's already low. He will get dropped. Alu has that car covered. That's going to be Smiths down, and Kayashima once again finds himself the last remaining man. And this is becoming a commanding lead for Ninjas in Pajamas. 9-1 already on the T side. That is a monstrous T side score.
Yeah, it's tough to watch right now because basically EnVyUs is playing the same game they've always played. They're doing nothing different than what they ever do. The only difference is NiP is singling out all their players in every single spot they play. They're singling out NBK, and they basically leave Happy for last. They're just like, here, we'll save you for dessert. And he hides in this quad smoke that he typically gets a 3K in, and they just come out and they take him out.
They've just not been able to get anything work, and when you lose 2 people in the opening 30 seconds of the game, you know that things are definitely not going well. NBK is going to try a couple of jump shots, but they're not landing either. He did manage to get Exist tagged up, but didn't get the follow-on. And again, mid-control has been wrestled away by NiP. They just seem to have this one on lockdown right now. Alu hasn't picked himself up too many frags, but simply put, he hasn't needed to. There's just nobody been showing for him. He's not needed to get anything. He's got 16K in his bank as well, so he's going to be very happy. There's the bomb plant, and once again, we're looking at a 10-1 situation for NiP.
Yeah, and smart play again by NiP. They're in a 2 versus 5. They know Happy pushed the door. He missed that op shot behind them. Very uncharacteristic miss by Happy, but they know he's there. Alu holds him in from mid, basically. So they know the ops on the A side of the map. They feel safe going B. They gather in numbers. Alu's still holding that cross, They hit B, he leaves. Just everything NiP's doing right now is just perfect. It's perfect CS.
Perfect executions. And let's remember, this is EnVy's map. They're going to have themselves a pretty sublime T-side because Ninjas in Pajamas are really racking up the kill count as well as the rounds. Now, 12 rounds in, they find themselves in a 10-1 situation as the CT side. This is something that if you were in a matchmaking, they'd already be trying to vote for that surrender.
Perhaps so. This is about the time, yeah, when you would start to surrender, or maybe you'd even start looking for taser kills if you're me.
Well, I'm not going to go into that one. Tweeday's caught me out in one of the matches before. It's going to be a highlight video, I'm pretty sure, one of these days. Alu, well, he was once again scoping up and looking towards mid-control. NiP have not shoved through this time, which has given Smiths a bit of an opportunity to step a little bit closer. You can see it is potentially an A-stack, but NiP, they're aware this is probably a buy, and look how deep Ali was playing there on the beat, expecting someone from EnVy to push round.
Just not letting EnVyUs push anywhere. Getting that info, EnVyUs is scared, they have to fall back to B, get no info out of that really. They have no idea if NiP could be sending 4B now. NiP's in control everywhere right now.
Well, Smith is still holding that tight angle, hoping that somebody will come around the corner at drop. Instead, no one's going to show. Now that Squeaky's open, they're going to try and rattle a couple of bullets through. Double pop flashes from Forest, tries to help Exist out, but I think he got counter flashed by Happy from around the corner, but the smokes are down. And they are moving into sight. The boost not going to quite work out for them. Exist was ready and waiting for that. Didn't quite get the tag, though. Has forced some back. Smiths, he's been holding his angle for a long time. And maybe it's worked out because the bomb has dropped in mid. And now he's got the support of Kiyashima. That's going to be get right down. And now they have the mid control. The bomb is loose. And NiP, after playing this so nice and slow, suddenly find themselves with the clock ticking 15 seconds down. And EnVy will get themselves their second round of the game.
And that's the experience of Smiths right there that just won them that round. Nothing more than that. That was just so smart of him to sit in that corner for as long as he did. Even when Happy and NBK boost and see multiple people out A main, he's still sitting there. And that's because he knows even at top tier CS, basically he knows if it's an A hit, there's still going to be a lurker mid or B. And chances are he's about to walk out mid and flank highway, because that's pretty much the standard right now, is to go out mid, flank highway, get that kill in the back, and basically open up things for your A players. He was probably looking for that. He actually got 3 guys coming out mid.
You could actually say reputation perhaps preceding get right there, expecting that play, and it worked out well. It's their right to experience it. Of course, Shocks on EnVy very much does the same position and has worked out well for him. Lots of smokes this time from NiP, a much faster style of play perhaps coming out. MBK is going to try and rattle some shots, does manage to tag up Exist as he bounces on through. Shocks up high though, should be able to find a couple of heads here, gets himself one, but it's quickly answered and taken down. Smith's now just late to the party, and NiP are holding a bit of a disco over on the A site. Smokes and flashes everywhere. This is going to be an 11-2 now for NiP.
Yep, and right when EnVyUs thinks they have a solution to what NiP's doing, controlling mid, falling back to A, NiP switches it up, goes instantly into an A execute, massive execute, Molotovs everywhere, smokes for highway, smokes for quad, and just completely counter them. Just NiP is one step ahead every turn right now.
Well, remember, Team EnVy, you can see on Smiths there, the champions at DreamHack Winter. They were the last major winners. And it was NiP they defeated in that final. They've met each other so many times as well. Across the board, back at MLG as well in Aspen. That went to 3 maps. DreamHack went to 3 maps. Will this one go the distance? But as it stands, EnVy really are going to have to pick something up, talk to themselves, get something going at halftime, because an 11-3 is the best they can hope for. 11-4 possibly, if they can pick up this round. And this really is a big, big round. A double AWP now coming out from Team EnVy. This is what they've been hoping to get for the last 13 rounds.
Yeah, their economy has just been so awful. And even this round, you have NBK at a CZ. They can't get the ball rolling anywhere. Good opening pick right there from Smith. That's exactly what they need. They need to end this 11-4.
Well, they managed to get one down. Shocks will get himself a second. Get right just around the side there. Going to pop flash himself out, but that molly will slow things down. Second flash will go down, trying to buy himself some time, but get right and Exist will allow him to back away. Forest is against to get himself around the side. Smith's caught off guard by that one. Wasn't expecting anyone so close in A main. Happy is covering off. And this has been an interesting one in itself. The fact that EnVyUs and Happy both all been over at the A site because they were expecting yet another A push. It's been so successful for NiP, but the boost, and I didn't see who it was that actually went through the mid vents there, but it was Shox actually. They just managed to boost through.
Yeah, and again, NiP is denying EnVyUs that pick in A main, and EnVyUs just keeps going for it, it seems like. Happy cleaning up Forest. Looks like the rest of the NiP members are working towards the B bomb site now.
It is just exist and get right left. That molly is going to force Kayashima out. He gets the kill before he comes out. Shox will get himself the second. So third round on the board. And they need to get this final one as well. They invested heavily in that one. They didn't manage to recuperate that second AWP either. So that would have cost them regardless of the round win. They will invest. They will purchase. And I think the two Smiths once Shox gets himself moving.
Yeah, and what's really scary about EnVyUs is they're notoriously known as being a great CT team. And this, even though I know for a fact they have an awesome T-side cache, I don't know if it's capable of winning 11 rounds against this strong of an NiP team.
Well, I mean, no doubt about it. That pistol round will be a vital one. But look at this. They're an aggressive play on the B site. But Freiburg's boosting himself up. This is going to be a lot of set smokes going over to the A site. This will be a quick play, and you can already see Shox. He's trying to come around as fast as he can. He knows that it's an A push. Everybody else from EnVy is in position. They have the information they require. The question is, can they make it work? Get right after being tacked from behind, spins around and gets the headshot on Shox over at the van. And now the rest of NiP, they're in on site. The mollies are doing work. They're preventing the bomb plant for now as the smoke clears. Freiburg pushes through. One boosted up. It's NBK. He gets himself one. Smith comes around from A Wayne. Oh, he's not going to land the opening shot on Forest. We'll get the second time of asking, but he's down to 2 health. Happy peeks around the side. They've just done enough. That's going to be the defuse. That's all they could have hoped for, but 11-4 nonetheless is not a great score for EnVy on the CT side.
Not at all, but 4 rounds is doable at very least. A 12-3 would have been next to impossible, actually, to come back from. This is possible for EnVy. I actually have faith that they can do this. They just need to get pistol, and they need to win either the first gun or the second gun to keep the money of NiP at bay.
And if you're to look across the frags, it really isn't anyone in particular for NiP. It's just been a fantastic team performance. They've been running in numbers and just getting every angle they possibly can. The flashes, the smokes, everything's working for them right now.
Yeah, and if you were to ask me how NiP would do this going into this match, I would have said Alu would have had to have a lot of picks at the boost mid, because I know that that's something NiP loves doing. They love boosting that upper mid. They love getting Alu up there. And back in the past, they love getting Makalele up there just to scope out mid, get that highway angle covered, and then after that, clear the far Z connector. It wasn't like that at all. They were just out shooting them everywhere at mid, A main. They didn't even really use B that much other than the ecos, which is another thing that a lot of top teams like doing. So if you plan on not going to one of the sites a lot, you may want to use that. You may want to hit that site on the ecos to keep it in the other team's head. Hey, we're aware that there are 2 bomb sites. You can't stack the other bomb site because it's fresh in the B player's head. Hey, we just came B. Don't over-rotate to A. So that's something NiP did a really good job, splitting up the hits between the bomb sites, using mid, always controlling the map, never allowing EnVyUs to push. I would say that was one of the best T-halves I've seen out of NiP this year.
And, you know, we talked about the fact that NiP did pick the T side because they felt they hadn't warmed up, so they go with that, because they feel they're going to be a lot more confident, a lot more chances to pick up the rounds on the CT side. You could look at EnVy, you know, I know that they're obviously sat here watching the Fnatic VP game. They got warm-up set up, they weren't using it. If we were to look back at the warm-up process that actually happened, they were sat huddled discussing the tactics. Is that just a case of you're not making use of your time correctly, you know, when you're in these LAN environments?
I think that's just something that's really prevalent within the French scene, actually. I've noticed that Existence does that a lot with his team. They'll huddle a lot, they'll talk about strategies, they'll refresh themselves going into the match, make sure everyone's on the right page, and that's way more important to them than warming up and focusing on their aim.
Well, you'd hope that aim is never really going to lose them, these pro players. They are the 0.01 percentile of the population of the game and absolutely set the pace. Forest is about to get himself very busy on this B site as he sits holding that angle on checkers. 4 members of EnVy are ready and waiting to rush around. He doesn't get the opening head. That's what he needed. And now he's going to find himself in a little bit of trouble. He's got support, though. One man pops out of vents. It is Exist, I believe, that comes down there. Forest still alive, pops around, but Shocks with a jumping headshot on him will get themselves this site opened up. And this is the exact start that EnVy needed. Just two members, Allo and GetRight, smoked off on that CT side. GetRight going to try and peek around the upper. Got a smoke of his own. He'll pop that along with a flash and maybe try and make that difference. This is a big investment from GetRight in the first round, and he'll get taken down by Shocks. Quick pop there. Alu, the last man, in a 4-on-1. Near impossible task as he's pinned out on the site. And everybody from EnVy will pile in onto his position. That pistol round was absolutely needed for EnVy. They have to pick up that and many more.
Yeah, and that was such great work right there by EnVyUs entering the B bomb site. NiP had a 3-man stack there, Freiburg in the site, Forest back checker, guy in the vent. What EnVyUs did to take that site basically was they knew Forest was back checker, and they basically kept jiggle peeking him, got him to come up close. And the way they peeked the angles when they always knew where someone was basically in a way where the first guy was never looking to kill the person. He was always just jumping out for information. And the guy behind him would swing basically as that other guy shot. Just great work by EnVyUs right there.
Well, we are seeing the speed that you were talking about in mid there. The umps coming out from both Shocks and MBK as they piled straight through, and it is just Forest left, of course. They did invest. I didn't quite catch whether everybody went for the head armor. You can see, of course, that Forest does have that, so he's going to want to try and save, if possible, with the bomb plant down, but they are already trying to hunt him down with that A site in there. And this maybe is the speed that we're talking about from EnVy, and that was, I think it was the 3-man stack piling over the top.
Yeah, something important to note about this round is how EnVyUs used those SMGs. I talked about this last cast, and I had a lot of questions regarding it on Twitter, so I want to kind of go into that. So basically, they buy 3 SMGs here, 2 UMPs and 1 P90. And this wasn't something that was prevalent maybe 3 months ago at Top Tier CS. This is something that's new. And basically, since the introduction of maybe the Tech 9, I would say, teams have been buying these 3 SMGs basically to stay mobile. And similar to how I said in the pistol round, they're not really even looking to kill people. They're just looking to gather a lot of information, make the pistolers miss shots, and not get instantly dinked and killed. And then they have a rifler like kind of fishing behind them almost and looking for that kill. That round just EnVyUs dominated. The SMGs just stayed mobile, ran over the pistols, ran over the scout. Again, good stuff by EnVyUs on their peaks.
Yeah, fantastic start. And there's going to be another fast push this time around. Over into the A side once again, but they've tried to double stack it. Not going to work out, it seems. Forest will get run down by that Tech 9. Smith's going to find Freiburg. And, well, a very, very fast push. And, you know, NiP read that. They stacked it. But you just can't stop them SMG sometimes.
Okay. Or the Rec 9, right?
Or Rec 9, yeah. Well.
Rec 9 coming out to play right there with Smith. And yeah, another important thing about the SMGs is, in addition to all those good benefits, they're getting more money per kill. So 600 as opposed to 300.
You can see Smiths really has stepped up in this game for EnVy. 20 frags on the board. The first man to hit that.
Let's look for the fast mid take right now. Will EnVyUs do it? Yep, here it is. Hiroshima coming out mid, guys coming out boost. That smoke guarding him from highway.
Just checking the boost. Oh, that's a good boost, actually good counter boost from Exist that jumped in there with his teammate. That will make EnVy second guess themselves, but they still have that mid control. And you can see Shocks and Smiths, they're already peeking towards that quad where GetRight is trying to hang on. They've got one man pushing from A main as well, so it's almost certainly going to be an A push. That bomb's still in play, just waiting around the mid. Oh, GetRight tagged up heavily. I think they just saw the corner of the smoke there, just saw his feet pass by, and he's just down to 12 hit points. That's going to be him down, and now the rest of NiP need to come. Well, Shocks is going to stop them dead in their tracks. Alu and Freiburg, the last two standing. Alu holding on to that rifle. A truck does get sighted out. Just take a quick peek to the side. It is a 3-on-2. This is not impossible if Alu lands that opening shot as the Shocks tries to pass through with the bomb. But they will get him down. And now Freiburg versus MBK. Dodging, ducking, and a weaving around the truck. Bomb plant going to come in from Happy. And they should cover this one off. It is NBK getting the round in. And this now has been a very good start for EnVy. 4 rounds back-to-back on the T side. Can they really bring this back?
God, I love seeing that. I love seeing what beat me throughout the boot camp and scrims right there. That was exactly it. Happy not lurking the door, going aiming exactly like I talked about. We had Kiyoshima going out mid, going vents. He actually probably should have got that kill. He had the jump on the guy boosting vents. Everything was perfectly timed. The guy's highway peaked top and bottom spool at the exact same time to peak quad. Just excellent stuff right there by EnVyUs. That's what I love to see.
Trying to counter that aggression with aggression of their own exists there. Pushing through that smoke. Will have been unseen here, and he's going to surprise Happy as he comes around the corner. Manages to gun him down with that CZ. Freiburg ready and waiting for this B push as well. He's going to get mollied out, though, unfortunately, down to 50% hit points already as Shox pushes on through. Will find him, and that is the B site now taken by EnVy. Let's see how the retake works from NiP. They invested. They tried to go aggressive in mid. Tried to go for that counter play, but all they've done so far is rescue that one rifle. And I think they're going to try and keep hold of it, actually. Looking towards get right boosting. I think they're just going to keep him there and let this one play out. Smiths is holding the angle. Everything seems to be covered off here from EnVy, so it's just going to be a case of see if they can get any rifles out of the hands of EnVy. And this should be an 11-9. It will be an 11-9, no doubt about that now. And everybody is being cleaned out. Good round from EnVy, good fast pace, but it was a gamble from NiP when you're on the pistols. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, and again by EnVy, everything perfect that round. Basically, they had Happy playing close mid, kind of listening for that vent to pop, making sure there's not a guy in the vents from mid. They have four guys heading towards B, one Molotov's the headshot angle that Freiburg was in, flush him out of there so they can't get one deeged. They Molotov checker so that way a guy can't peek them from there. And they basically all take through the B main into the site with a smoke spawn. Last guy trails and holds their checker. Perfect execution again by EnVy.
We do see this time around EnVy are going to play this one a tad slower than before. It's going to be a double A stack in the squeaky, though. We'll see if that pays off. Forest with this AWP. It's a double AWP setup, by the way, for NiP. Something we have been seeing. We saw him in the Makalele days, and we've been continuing to see it with Forest on this AWP as well. Doesn't land the shot, though. And he may well be kicking himself for that one because Forest has managed to pin him in on that B site, but still no opening shots just yet.
And that was actually the one-way smoke I was referring to in pregame that MBK throws. If he would have jumped on that box and there was a guy checker, he would have been able to see right over it. The guy checker would have never seen him. Let's look for that later on in this half because that's something MBK really likes doing. Yeah,
it's something we saw from the VP game as well. Pasha and Neo doing a walking AWP shot, double boosted over each other. If you've not seen it, ladies and gentlemen, go check that out. It was fantastic. It was like a crab walking boosted AWP shot over the top of smoke. Like that. Yeah. This is going to be an A play, though. You can see the bomb now in motion. Everybody else starting to stack up. 30 seconds now on the clock. So EnVy are going to have to get a move on, but Alu is holding a perfect angle. He will get Shox down in the opening shot. Some counter flashes of their own. He tries to peek across. Kiyoshima was about to look. They've got one around Forklift, but that's exists, and he's now down. And Alu's position is about to get pushed, but Get Right and Forest come around, and well, they just clean up over on the A side. Good round from NiP in the first one on the CT side.
Very good round from NiP right there, and really having a very minimal amount of deaths, only one death that round. Even if they were to lose this round, they would still be able to rebuy the next. Strong gun round right there by NiP, something that they really needed to kind of keep the lead in this match.
Get some of that momentum on, and when they had the double AWP, it seems to work out. Smith's able to rebuy though because they picked up those 5 rounds on the T side earlier on. Now, the boost from Smiths. This is what we were expecting earlier on. See some of those AWP challenges.
Smiths is one of the few people that lines this up every time for the Z connector. Basically, if there's anyone peeking this, he's just going to pre-fire them. He's so fast at it.
Yeah, just an instant quick crouch and straight back down. Alu actually switching position, by the way. Forest is now over on the A. And Alu single-handedly holding that B site. Nobody even in the vents. And Forest will open his account with Shox trying to push that A main. Happy just holding steady. Smith, you can see, has been tagged up. He was on the boost, so somebody caught his eye in the mid area. It must have been Freiburg, judging by his position.
Yeah, and something really funny about the way Forrest picked Shox right there is Forrest was always the A main lurker, and every time they would play Fnatic, JW would opt that barrel spot. And it would be something I would see literally 2 times a half. JW versus Forrest in that spot. JW would win about half of them. Forrest now using it to his advantage the other way around.
Used to just pop flash his way out there. JW tends to. Don't think they were expecting Smiths to have got himself in that corner, and he will get Forest down. And now it is just Happy, the last man standing for Envy. Does collect that bomb, but he's in a bit of a thankless position here, trying to push against 4 members of NiP. 3 of them on the site he's heading for. Crab walking his way forward, back into the position where we do see Forest went down. He's just going to wait. The time down. Nobody's going to push him angle either. They're happy to let him have that AK. And Envy, they should be okay in the next round, but if they suddenly start to let these slip away, they're running out of rounds. Remember, NiP, after having such a successful T-side, now 13-9 to the good.
Yeah, and this is the round right now for EnVyUs. I would be shocked if they don't do that fast mid again. There's one thing that worked extremely well for them. They need to go back to something that works. This slow style of play doesn't really suit them. They need to keep the tempo up if they want to beat NiP.
Let's see how it works out for them. Kyoshima, the smoke from NiP will slow them down. Nobody willing to push through it. Not going to counter smoke or flash it themselves. Freiburg flashes himself out, see if anyone's pushing heavy on B. Gets the information required. I think he got a glimpse of just one there. And again, we are back to the slow power. Envy trying to set this one up. Hasn't worked successfully every time they try it, though.
Yeah, and I always found EnVyUs to be a much better team when they work fast as opposed to when they work slow. I would have liked to see a fast play, as I said, out of them this round, but they still have a lot of grenades left. They can do a nice executing. It looks like they're going to do something mid, maybe to B, actually. Yeah, maybe throw the smoke on the mid roof to protect them going into the vent. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, Shox has got himself through. Get right, though. Does manage to gun down Kyoshima through that smoke. But Freiburg already aware he's got positional disadvantage. He gets taken down. Exist pokes around the side. Alu does get Shox on the rotate. But they still haven't get the bomb down yet. Team Envy really need to try and get in that corner, but they're so worried about Exist. He's still hanging around in this top. He's going to get himself a peek, and he will find MBK. The Forest will come through the back of the vents. And now Smiths is in a 1-on-2 situation with no bomb planned. This really has not gone well for Envy once again.
They actually had the site. The bomb could have been planted.
Well, Exist is going to push it. He knew exactly where that bomb was going. And that was a simple cleanup duty for him. Knows that there's an AWP in that corner as well. So, NiP get themselves the 14th round on the board. And now Envy will find themselves in a bit of a precarious situation here. They're going to just go for it and see what they can pull out.
Yeah, and I would love to know if that was something that was on the fly, that was called by them, or whether that was something pre-planned. They threw the 3 smokes mid. When they went B, though, there wasn't a smoke spawn, which you typically see at top LCS. You see that smoke spawn so you can cross the site, plant the bomb. They didn't have that. Instead, they elected to push spawn. And I was wondering if that was something that they called on the fly or not, right there.
Looking like they're going to go for some fast play here. The speed they're going towards that A site on the mini-map, but instead that smoke will slow them down. Shox is trying to be the distraction. Tosses out that molly, tries to keep them busy on B side. Get right, actually trying to creep his way through the smoke. He's got himself into the back of A main. They're not going to realize he's through there. He could come around the side. Oh, he doesn't get the Smith straight away, but instead, oh, he has to switch to pistol, runs out of bullets. MBK comes leaping around the corner. Forest and Get Right gunned down. Well, they have managed to use that fast play to their advantage. They've got themselves on the site, but Alu evens things up. Shox, though, still in lurking position. Not going to get enough, though. Alu was taken down, and that takes it into a 2-on-2. Bomb plant only just going in, and that molly's going to stop it. Oh, 39 health ripped away from Kyoshima there. But they've managed to get the position. This is what they needed. Now it's on to NiP to try and go for the retake. Kyoshima trying to peek that angle, but he's got to be so careful. The flash on Freiburg will be enough, but now it is Happy. He's in a 2-on-1 situation. This in-game leader, can he do enough? Flicks around, will get one. It's going to have to sneak into the smoke. Not going to work out for him. Exist is there, the defuse. Just going to get it down, and that will be map point for Ninjas in Pajamas, 15-9.
Excellent retake right there by NiP. Constantly kind of peeking the angles together. When they went spawn to kill Shox, that was incredible. They all jump peeked at the same time in spawn. There's no way Shox was killing more than one guy that round. Perfect trading by NiP. Good job clearing the tractor angle. Good retake.
And good knowledge of the timing, of course. They'd seen the molly throw out, so they assumed that somebody was back there, and they just, like you say, spun around in unison. instant reaction. Smokes, though, this time are going out in the mid, but it's going to be a quick, fast B play, but it seems. But already, NiP are trying to counter it, and that molly will do just about enough to slow them down. NBK, I think he was the sole man trying to push through, but look at this. NiP in perfect situation to hold this defense. Freiburg gets one, gets two, tries to spin around, doesn't matter. He's got this support of his buddy, Forrest, who gets himself a double. And it is 16-9 to Ninjas in Pajamas on map 1 Cash, which was EnVyUs' choice. But it was a fantastic T start for NiP. No doubt about that. 11-4 in the first half, and that's where the damage was done.
Yeah, and EnVyUs just couldn't bring it back. I would have liked to see them go back to some of that fast mid stuff they used early, that fast mid take. NiP seemed to have some difficulties with it. That last round, you saw them run a fake